welcome everybody to this week's Tim Talks. I am so fired up. I have the one and only, there are several people in your life that after you meet them for the first time, your thought is, wow, there's something different about this cat. And I had the privilege to meet Alex almost 2 months ago now, I think. And I feel like in the movie Step Brothers, when they were doing karate in the garage and they said, did we just become best friends? So Alex and I, what a phenomenal human being. Alex Flores, when you go into one dealership and you take one dealership from 150 to 600 or 500, it's a phenomenal job, but maybe it's a fluke. Alex has done that six times. So we're going to unpack a lot of that today with the one, the only, my dear friend, Alex Flores. Alex, welcome to Tim Talks, my brother.
How you doing, Tim? Thank you for having me here today. We're super excited. I'm super excited, man. And I got much respect for you, Tim, and what you're doing in this industry, how much you pour yourself into everyone, just try to make it a better industry for everyone. So thank you again, Tim.
No, thank you, brother. And listen, I'm going to dive right into it. And if you're listening or if you have questions, some of you, I know a lot of this gets actually shared more than live, but if you are listening live and you have a question for Alex, please let us know and type that in. And I know Alex is a Clubhouse legend and answers a lot of questions, but very busy running multiple dealerships. This is your chance, as Alex will drop some knowledge bombs. Had to use that. And as we get better together. So listen, let's just jump right into it. First of all, let's start talking about, you said something at a conference that I really dove into. And not only is it a life lesson, but it is kind of your motto on changing these dealerships and culture's a buzzword. We'll get into that. But you say transform yourself by the renewing of your mind, or transform your business, transform you internally. So can you unpack that a little bit for us?
Of course, Tim. I think we all are our own worst enemy. And I think sometimes, as we know, and we've talked about so many times, we stop ourselves from succeeding. And the reason being is because we're scared, we're worried. There's always that uncertainty of trying something new, of doing things differently. We're so used to doing things a certain way for so long. And I believe that's one of the biggest problems that I see in every dealership that I walk into, that they're telling me, well, we've done it like this for so long, Alex. We follow this process for so long. We don't believe in, giving people prices. We don't believe in doing this. And I have to come in there and say, hey, that's all in the past. And we're going to transform the way we think. We're going to believe that there's better things. We're going to believe that we can achieve this crazy, unreasonable goals that I'm going to throw out there. And I need everybody to buy in. And it's just a transformation of the mindset, transformation of the way they think. And it starts from the top. It starts from the general manager, starts from the GSM, all the managers, all the salespeople. And trust me, Tim, this is not something that, unfortunately, doesn't happen overnight. It takes a little bit of while. You're going to have pushback. You're going to have a lot of people questioning it and wondering, is this really the truth? Is this really, they've seen so many people come in and make all these promises and all these changes that are going to happen, and they never do. So there's always that pushback, but it's all worth it at the end, because once they see, once they believe, then you can tell, man, there's a little pep in their step, a little swag going on. They're excited to be at work anymore. They're excited to be at work now again, and they're walking around giving high fives and just pumped up, man. So it's an amazing thing to see, just the transformation of the mind. That's something that I had to deal with in my personal life many, many years ago, after making mistake after mistake after mistake, just realizing I have to change. If there's anybody that needs to change, it's Alex. If there's somebody that needs to transform, it's me. I can't be walking around speaking victimese, like I like to call it. I can't be walking around blaming people.
Whoa, say that again. Victimese?
Victimese, man.
I love it. It's victimese. Let me write that down.
Yeah, it's like
I'm a victim. I love it.
It's like Vietnamese and victim, man. It's like victimese saying, hey man, I am a victim. People are out to get me. The reason why I can't succeed is because of this, because of that, because what happened to me when I was growing up. So it is a transformation of the mind where we're not victims anymore. We say, hey, I got to get over it, whatever happened, and I have to move forward, and I have to believe that there's greater and bigger things for our teams and for myself.
The most powerful thing that I don't want people to miss, the old story is when a general manager or new ownership comes in, a new broom sweeps clean.
Mm.
The power in what you have done, other than a few pieces, and I want you to talk about that for a second. You see leadership, you see what's wrong, what's right, but you take dealerships from 100 to 400, 500 with probably over 90% of the same exact people. Isn't that correct?
Yes, and I tell myself every time that I'm not going to do that again because of the time and effort and energy and strength and courage and guts and freaking stamina that it takes to do that, because people will fight you, people will question you. But I always want to prove myself that, hey, it was already there. It was already there before I even came here. This opportunity, this growth was already here before we even got started. And that's what really, and if you can transform those people, and if you can make them believe by seeing it, because seeing is believing in it, right? Faith. Not everybody has faith. Everybody struggles with having faith. Believing in something that we've never seen before. That's the hardest thing. But when you start seeing it, then you really start believing it. Then people start buying in. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. We just double the amount of cars. We just made double the gross. Our CSI is higher. Customers are coming back. The culture is so much better. The energy is fantastic. And then all of a sudden people buy in, and what you have is a transformation. It is a transformation. They call me the transformer.
I love it. And you are the transformer. So help me out a little bit. I know you've had pushback. So a lot of dealerships and the worst time for a sales manager or a salesperson is when their general manager or owner goes to a 20 group, because they go to a 20 group, they get a new idea, they see somebody's financial statement, they come back, but they know, and listen, I have had people that we've wanted to train inside dealerships, and they literally have told me, we're not going to train yet because you're not going to be here in a month. So because it's an idea. So how do you get people to buy in? I've seen your sales meetings. They're literally dance parties, and that might sound silly, but the energy you bring, talk about a little bit, how do you get these same people that were 7, 8, 9 car people to now seeing vision? You posted the other day, the dealership that you were in was doing 13 cars on a Saturday. They did 88 last weekend. How do you get them? Because most people, most general managers, leadership, they come back with an idea, they plant the seed, and then they wait, and they want it to produce fruit in 30 days or 60 days. How do you push through the pain, per se, of watering and nurturing that seed to where you continue to grow? Is it just your enthusiasm? How do you continue to cultivate and to water those seeds?
Man, it's an everyday thing, Tim. You have to come in every single day and keep implementing this new culture, this new accountability, this new inspecting what you expect. It's an everyday talking to these people, inspecting and inspecting and inspecting. And then they start seeing, hey, listen, this guy is paying attention. This guy cares, a lot more than the guy before. This guy has intent. This guy is not just all talk. He's here to work. And I think that's one big thing that I think a lot of GMs and GSMs, like you said, you're exactly right. They come in, they say, hey, I went to this seminar, I went to this 20 group. Here's the idea. This is what I want you to do. But they just walk away, and they don't inspect anything. They don't make sure that it actually gets done. And that's one thing that I believe separates me from the rest, from the crowd, that I want to make sure that, hey, here's where we're trying to get to. Here's the plan. Here's how we're going to get there. And now we're going to inspect together that it gets done every single day. And every single day, these people get a text from me. They get an email from me. They get a phone call from me. We're talking about, hey, what's the progress like? Hey, we're not moving forward. We're going backwards. What are we going to do about it? What's happening here? Why is it that it's not working? Let's assess the situation. And it makes a big difference. It's just an everyday culture thing, every day inspecting what you expect and like the 6 E's that you've heard me talk about. And I know you were going to bring it up. So
Yeah, no, go
sorry,
ahead and bring
sorry.
that up. Go ahead and
So
bring that up.
we have the 6 E's at my dealerships. And basically what it is to expect everyone. Now listen, expect. That's the first keyword. Do I expect? You see, Jacko Willis says, is not what we teach, is what we tolerate. In a lot of places, a lot of dealerships are tolerating bad habits, are tolerating complacency, are tolerating managers not making any calls, are tolerating salespeople not delivering cars properly. They're tolerating accessories not being sold on every single car, warranties being offered, phone calls, follow-up, all these things. So we need to expect everyone. Second word, expect everyone. Now think about what everyone means. Everyone doesn't mean everybody but the receptionist, everybody but the BDC people, everybody but the finance people. No, expect everyone, okay, to execute, because information without execution is just information. Information with execution, that's transformation. So we believe in executing. We believe in having a plan in place, and we're going to show you, we're going to train you. Training is a big thing. Training is huge. We train twice a week for an hour and 30 minutes, sometimes 2 hours. So you're talking about 4 hours of training weekly, 4 hours of training, of just development, of leadership development, of growth development, of just the mindset development, because we believe that that's the only way you're going to get better. So you got to expect everyone to execute everything, every time, every day, everything, not just some things, not just the demo and the write-up. No, the coaching and offer, the service walk, the MPIs, the walkarounds, the proper business turn, the listening to the phone calls, the deliveries, the everything, registering the vehicle with the manufacturer, doing all the things that we're supposed to do. So we expect, first thing is expect everyone, not just some people, everyone to execute everything, every time, every day. Every day, every single day, every single day. Think about how many dealerships go through a day where one manager's out, the guy that usually pushes, he takes 2 days off. What happens during those 2 days? Okay, well, guess what? People are kind of, okay, we can take a little breather. We can, no. This is an everyday thing. This is an everyday obsessed with success, obsessed with customer service, obsessed with growing, obsessed with winning, obsessed with what? We just keep doing the right thing, even when nobody's looking. It is a culture, Tim.
I love it. I love it. And I hate mentioning people because I'm seeing people come into the room even now. And, I had the privilege to spend some time with Michael Porro over the weekend, largest Honda store in my home state of Kentucky. And that's one thing that he pours into his people. You can tell he loves his people and his people love him. And I've seen your people around you. I mean, how do you walk that fine line of everything every time? Are you micromanaging? Are you lifting them up? Are you encouraging them? I think there's got to be a perfect for you to go into 6 different dealerships that are underperforming, or maybe they're performing to market, but then you quadruple that. I mean, what is that cocktail look like? Do you micromanage? Are you on top? Because let me let you answer that, and then I've got a follow-up question.
It's a dirty martini, brother. It's a dirty martini.
Olives or no olives?
Okay. So it just means that sometimes you have to have those tough conversations. Sometimes you got to give people love. Sometimes you have to show people compassion. Sometimes you have to pull people to the side and mentor them. And me and you spent a lot of time in Florida. We sat outside and drank some coffee in that humid Florida weather early in the morning when it was still dark outside. And we talked about this. We talked about the roles of leadership, of the 5 levels of leadership, like John Maxwell always talks about, what it takes to be a true leader. And it takes not just hugging people and not just giving people time off all the time, not just telling people, hey, you're doing a great job, but also being able to call them out sometimes, to be able to say, hey, you're not performing to the level that I expect you to perform. But you know what? That's okay. I'm going to help you get there. This is what you need to adjust. This is what you need to do. And I think that's one thing that we have lost in our industry. We have lost in our society, in our school systems. We are not calling people out. We're letting people fail, not do what they're supposed to do, and nobody's saying anything about it. Why? Because we are too afraid to offend someone. I'm not. I'm going to run my business the way I know I need to run my business. And guess what? The right people will stay. The wrong people will go. The wrong people will go. And trust me, I am fine with that. Not that I want people to leave me. Not that I want people not to work for me. I definitely want that. but I definitely don't want people who are not doing what they're supposed to do to be in my dealership, because you know what? You don't want those people. Nick Saban talks about that all the time. He says, the first thing I do when I come into a new team is I want to make sure that I want to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus. And then once I realize who's going to be on the bus, then I need to make sure the right people are at the right seats. And that's so important, right? We got to make sure that we have. Do you have a sales manager that has any business being a sales manager and leading people? Do you have an internet manager that is good at follow-up, that believes in customer service, that believes in good CSI? Do you have salespeople that have any sales skills? It's just so important that we have the right people at the right places and the wrong people not at the wrong places, because it could hurt you. It can hurt you. Think about it. We're putting the rudest people in the dealership as receptionists. I've experienced that firsthand. We have AF Dealer Consulting. We go into dealerships. The first person I come to is the receptionist, and guess what? She's rude. And I'm thinking, why would you put the rudest person as a receptionist? Put the friendliest person at the receptionist. Somebody who's always smiling, somebody who's always giddy, always laughing, always in a good mood, because that's going to be the first impression of your dealership. So the wrong people, the right people, and put the people on the right seat.
I love that. And when you break this down, and we talked about a little bit, and Paul, I see your question. I'm going to get to that next. Thank you for typing in the question. But when you break down how many hours you work, let's just look, it's just us friends talking here. So come in a little closer. Just us kinfolk, as we say. Let's be, when you boil, I'm going to give you a bunch of country sayings and you're just going to have to deal with it. When you boil all the water out of the pot, right? And all, when you boil, you put an egg in, you boil all the water, steam, and all you have left, it's just me and you talking. The man, the woman, whatever in the mirror. How much time, I don't care what your job description is, how much time do you spend at work working? Let me say that again. How much time do you spend at work working? I go into, I want to say thousands. I think I've been in thousands of dealerships. Don't want to seem silly there, but I think I have. And in most dealerships, I mean, when you think about it, if you break it down, even sales managers, whether they're playing some golf game on the internet, how much time, and I think when you expect and let them know what you expect out of them, and you take what they made last year, and this is what we talked about in Florida, and then you break it down to the hour, and then break it down every 15 minutes, and then always ask yourself, did those last 15 minutes, did they make me money or cost me money? And I think you do a fabulous job. I think that's part of your success, in my humble opinion, from what I've seen, is your people go to work and they work and they enjoy it. I think the problem across the country, we still have people smoking and joking and looking at the internet and looking at their phone for probably 5 hours out of an 8 or a 10-hour day. What are your thoughts, Alex?
No, absolutely. And believe me, if I wasn't on my people all the time, they probably would do the same thing. But I make sure that that is not a part of our culture, and I preach it. And this is something that you have to consistently keep talking about and keep preaching and keep preaching and keep preaching. And there's a reason why growing up we would say the Pledge of Allegiance every single day. We didn't say it once a month. We said it every single day as a reminder of what our country stands for and what we believe in. So this is things that you have to preach every single day about, hey, come to work, to your point. Do the right thing when nobody's looking. Give customers world-class service, okay? Don't be complacent, okay? Believe in transparency. Believe in doing things right. Believe in honesty. Let's change this industry, and this is what it takes. It takes a constant preaching of the vision, preaching of the mission, and in the belief system, because that's huge. And I think we failed to do this. I can go into a dealership and ask anybody, hey, what is y'all's mission statement? What is y'all's vision? What are you guys trying to go? What are you guys trying to get to? What is the belief system of your general manager? What does he believe in? What is he passionate about? Is your GM passionate about follow-up? Is he passionate about customer service? Is he passionate about CSI? What is he passionate about? Is he passionate about getting to 900 cars like my man Brad Wise is trying to get to at Furman Chevrolet? Whatever the case may be, what is the passion? What is the belief system? What is the mission? And what is the vision?
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Alex. We've got a question coming in. It says, is your training specific to each role, or is it is training universal to all of your staff? So is the training that you do specific to each role? I think probably on a managerial level it is, or is it training universal to all staff?
Specific to each role, man. We do sales training, of course, to salespeople. I also do BDC training because that's different, right? We're trying to sell an appointment. How do we overcome objections over the phone? I mean, how many general managers or owners, Tim, do you know that on any given Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock are going to sit there and spend an hour with their BDC team on how to overcome objections for the weekend? Not very many. See, we all want the success. We all want the wins. We all want the accolades, the awards, the income, the life-changing events. But not many people want to put in the work. And I put in the work by training the BDC people, training the service advisors, making sure that I pull them to the side and said, okay, guys, I even train sometimes technicians. And we talk about bay management. We talk about being organized, how important that is, and how can we beat the clock? What do we need to do to beat the clock? How do I flag more hours without working more hours? Because mechanics don't want to work a lot of hours. So how do I beat the clock without working more hours and making more money and taking care of my family and still have time with my family? Everybody needs mentorship. Everybody needs training. Everybody needs direction. Everybody needs guidance and wisdom. And as GMs, as dealer principals, as owners, it is our duty and it is our job to make sure that we're doing this for our team. Otherwise, we're not leaders. We're only cheerleaders, not true leaders.
I love it. There's a saying that says everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. So I think that is pretty deep. And I think that that's such a true statement, walking in lockstep with what you just said. You know, let's just be totally straightforward here. I think a lot of problem in our industry, and look, I'm talking to me personally. And by the way, you know, you have been an amazing soundboard over the last almost 2 months now for me personally in my own life. And I thank you for that. But I think what happens a lot of times is in our industry, salesperson gets promoted to finance manager gets promoted to the desk manager gets promoted to GSM, and before you know it, he's running a store. And through that process, there's a lot of ego there, right? Maybe he, you know, was mistreated or cussed at or whatever that is. And then now he's the smartest person in the room. You know, a friend of mine, I think the biggest thing that I can share on my end with you, what I go through every day when I talk about reviewing the game film, a dear friend of mine, if you guys follow us in Clubhouse, Kevin Deutsch, just recently worked his rear end off and lost like 60 pounds. So I asked him, and this is a deep statement. It went deeper than Kevin. Kevin was just telling me how he lost all the weight, and it just smacked me in the face. And he literally said, Tim, it's easy. He said, this is how I lost all the weight. I started eating dinner naked in front of the mirror. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. What a life lesson. Not necessarily, I'm not trying to be crude. But think about it. Do we really want to see ourselves and our flaws? Do we really want to see ourselves and our flaws? And I would argue that a lot of us don't. You know what I mean? A lot of us want to put the shirt on. A lot of us want to cover up the wrinkles. Like I've had back problems for a month, and I've become skinny fat. Skinny fat, just so you know, Alex, is when your arms get skinny and your belly gets fat. I can't go to the gym. I've been laying down with ice. I can't do anything, but I know I'm fat right now. So I think a lot of us, if I can help anybody today, is I've got to see the world as they see me. You know, someone once said, what is it like to be on the other side of you? And I really, in my heart, we started Tim Talks in the March of last year, in the beginning of COVID, with one reason. And that was to serve the industry that's been so good to us, to pour into people. If they can take one thing out of what we're trying to help and sell another car, or more importantly, help them internally, I think it would be that. Forget about what people think. You're talking to Alex Flores today, that lives by example, that walks into dealerships, that turns them upside down, that gets everybody to believe in themselves. And then now they've quadrupled their numbers. I want to challenge every single one of you today. Do you want to eat in front of the mirror naked? Maybe just take your shirt off. I'm being silly here, but do you really want to see everything? And when we really see what we have to work on, then go to work. Alex, talk to me.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite songs is Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson.
Yep.
And it's just, I can't, you've given me too much credit here, Tim, and I appreciate that. But I've also made lots of mistakes. I've also made, bad calls. I've also lost people before. I've also not made the best leadership decisions in my career. But I look at those losses as lessons. And I think that's what it's all about. That is not that we're not going to fail and we're not going to make mistakes. Are we learning from our mistakes? Are we growing?
Yep.
Are we learning something? And I believe that God puts people in leadership positions for a reason, and it's to teach us a lot about ourselves, but at the same time to be able to help others. And I look at it as a God-given gift to be able to be in the position where I can lead people, where I can help people grow. And what I focus a lot on is making people better people, not better salespeople. Because, better people make better salespeople. So if I can work on people just becoming just better human beings, helping other people, volunteering to help, charities out there and doing things out there and being better husbands and better parents and just getting out of trouble and kicking that habit that they've had for so long. It's amazing what happens when a human being transforms. It just works in every aspect of their lives, and then that's when you see beautiful things happening. And to me, that's my goal. I'm very blessed that it's not. I always used to hear this, and I was like, "There's no way. There's no way." When people said, "Man, it's not about the money anymore," but it really isn't for me. After becoming a multi-dealer, never in my wildest dreams, when I was this little immigrant from Mexico that could barely speak English, that I was trying to sell Toyotas and Hondas back in the day. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would own dealership after dealership and franchises and people reaching out to me. So it is just an amazing, humbling experience for me to be able to be in this position and be able to use, what I've learned and the mistakes that I've made to teach others not to make the same mistakes.
I love it, brother. As we land the plane, lots of great comments coming in from Paul and Michael. Thank you for the encouragement. If you were just to have a few minutes to speak to that brand new GM that just got his first store, he's worked his butt off for 5, 10, 15 years, went through the ranks, started out washing cars, whatever his story is, and he could have, or she could have, because quite frankly, some of the most dynamic, and we've had some of them on here, it's not just a boys club anymore. There are some phenomenal women in automotive right now. So let me catch myself there before I club myself on the head. There's some phenomenal women in automotive. But what would you tell him or her if you had just 5 minutes or just a few minutes? What encouragement or what advice would you give that brand new GM?
I would tell them, don't be afraid of failing, and raise your standards and hold people accountable and lead by example. Don't be a travel agent, be a tourist guide. Don't be a travel agent. Don't send people to places you've never been. Be a tourist guide. Be out there with your team. Be out there in the trenches. Be out there making phone calls, making appointments, talking to customers. That's what gets people to really believe in you and really want to follow you everywhere, because they see that not only are you saying it, that you're doing it. And that makes a very, very big difference, and it validates everything you say. And the last thing is, don't be a thermometer, be a thermostat. A thermometer just checks temperature, and that's it. It tells you whether you're hot, whether you're cold, whether you're failing or whether you're losing, or you're winning, or you're selling cars or you're not. A thermostat, you get to set the temperature. You get to set your goals. You get to say, how many cars am I going to sell? How much are we running? We're going to run per copy. What are my people going to do every single time? What are the expectations? Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. And do not be a travel agent. Be a tourist guide. Lead by example. And don't be afraid to call people out. You don't have to be their friend. It's better to be respected than to be liked all day long.
Wow. I wrote a bunch of notes down here as you were dropping knowledge bombs. There we go. Don't be a travel agent. I have never heard that before. Don't be a travel agent. Be a tour guide. Derek Massey, thank you, brother. I love you, man. Thank you for the kind comments in the chat. Listen, you are going to, we have Alex sometimes comes in a clubhouse room in the morning called Modern Day Car Sales. Some of our brothers and sisters are in this room listening to Alex now. You have a chance to see Alex live 13th through the 15th in Atlanta at the Unconference. No pitches. We will be posting on social here in the next few days. It's going to be limited, but just a time where 50 or 60 people are going to get together and literally as iron sharpens iron. And as we always say, no one is smarter than everyone. Let's continue to get better together. Listen, I love you, Alex. Thank you so much. I know you've got multiple dealerships. And by the way, you're not done. You're working on several other acquisitions. I don't want to let anything out of the bag, but Alex is never done. And I know he's working on, you can talk about a little bit of that. You can tell me to shut up, but I know you're always working on something. So I'll be your biggest cheerleader, brother. I don't have pom-poms, but I can't wait to see your life and what God is doing in and through your life, man. It's just exciting. So I love you, brother. I can't wait.
Love you too, Tim, and thank you for having me here, man. And you're an amazing human being. So I think somebody wrote that down, and it's so true because you are kind. You are the real deal. And I met you in person and I saw you because a lot of people, like you said, talk about it. A lot of people say it, but they're completely different when you actually meet them in person. And I think you are the real deal, man. And I appreciate you having me here. And yes, I'm growing, I'm expanding, I'm looking for new opportunities, and I'm in the works of getting 2 more dealerships. I'm super excited about that. And I'm just going to keep growing and hopefully making you proud, my friend.
Awesome. Love you, brother. Hey, listen, Tim Talk family, this has been a good one. This has been a good one. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at our Tim Talks email address. We'll make sure that we can get you in contact with Alex. And we said it again, be looking for our next podcast coming soon. No one is smarter than everyone. Guys, let's just keep chopping wood. Let's continue to get better together. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.